Welcome to the Brohala Gaming Channel, where the focus is on gaming, fun, and friends. We are here today with Hoopoe from Corvus Belli, the brand ambassador for Warcrow. Hi, Hoopoe. How are you doing?
Hey, thank you so much for the introduction. I like that. I'm doing very good. What about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you. I'm very excited to be talking more about Warcrow because I got a little bit of a preview at Gen Con running some of the demos, and I'm very, very happy to one, see you again, and two, to be talking a little bit more in depth for our viewers here.
Yes, I am very much excited to talk about Warcrow, and I know I'm taking advantage of this situation because I know that Scott over here is a big law nerd, such as I am. So this is perfect. I'm very excited to be here, and I would like you to extend my thank you to all the people, lovely peeps at Brohala that I would love to meet one day, if possible. And I saw your video. Thank you so much for that. It was such a pleasure listening to you guys talk and like conspire a little bit about everything, because to us creators it's always very fun listening to what you think the future looks like for the game. So thank you to all the team at Brawlhalla, and hi, my name is Hoopoe. I do stuff and I know stuff.
Yes, and you know very certain things that you can and cannot share with us. So let's see what you can share with us today. Uh, First, is there anything else you want to tell us about yourself? Like, what is your current role at
Ooh,
Corvus Belli? Is there anything beyond brand ambassador?
I am a professional bird, but that's what I do. But jokes aside, I am a part of the development team behind Warcrow, which is Corvus Belli's new IP. And we are working on Warcrow the Word game. That is very exciting. I also take part in narrative design and some writing. I did most of that for Warcraft Adventures, which is the dungeon crawler. You might know a bit about the Kickstarter one.
Oh, I very much so do. Hopefully, our viewers do also.
And that's it. I mean, that's my main job. I've also took the role of an ambassador because my profile was just correct for the task, and I was very happy to do so because I love our game and I love our universe of fantasy. And yeah, that's it. And also, all the things that are worth noting, I am definitely and clinically obsessed with Hawthorne Point and everyone living in there. I am a true daughter and proud daughter of the Architect of Flesh, a scion at heart. And well, that's it. And I do have favorites because I've been told that I can express my favoritisms. So I will. So, I love everyone. Do not mistake. I love every single creature spawning from Corvus Belli's headquarters, but everyone has a favorite. And
And your
I do.
favorite is the Scions of Yaldabaoth.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
Lola and Cuddles.
Yeah. Lola, Cuddles, and Master Samara. I love them all very
Oh, very
dearly.
nice.
But Lola and Cuddles have a place in everyone else's heart. And I apologize for that.
For those who are not aware, Lola is the Kiplecht, which you'll see at least in the demo of Warcrow Adventures. Uh, so probably we'll be seeing the Kiplecht in others, maybe even the very first one. Hopefully, when we have everything in our hands, beginning of 2024. And
Mhm.
Cuddles is the Mornmab, which is also part of Warcrow Adventures.
But do give yourself credit for that, because here it was Scott who nicknamed Cuddles. You should own your own credit because I took that to Interplanetario and everyone else loved it. Some people didn't understand, but that is okay because not everyone is a true spawn of the architect. We get that. We love you equally, but those who are science understand that to us they're not monsters. They're our friends and our pets, and we
Yes.
love them dearly. So Scott named the mod map Cuddles.
He just looks like he wants to cuddle with you.
Oh,
He's
no,
not
it was
mean.
multiple. I think I translated the name as abracitos, which means like literally little hugs. Doesn't work as well. I prefer cuddles, but we need to find a proper. I would talk to our translator and editor, like, guys, We need to step up our game. We need a proper name for cuddles in Spanish.
Please let me know when you do have that. I'd be interested to know. Let's jump into some of our other questions here.
Let's
You
do it.
stated in some other videos that the Whispers of Lindworm, that a fantasy game is something that Corvus Belli has been wanting to do for a while now. How long has the project that has become Warcrow been operating?
Okay, so I can be. Ooh, actually, the answer to that question has is twofold because doing a fantasy universe was at the heart and head of the company since it was founded very back in the day. However, at that moment, starting in the 2000s, finally the decision was made to move into sci-fi because the market was not so crowded and full with products. It was a lot of fantasy. It was a release of Lord of the Rings. If you remember that
Mm-hmm.
time, were
Yep.
you alive when that happened?
Very much so.
I was so, I was so. So they decided to start with a sci-fi setting, thus Infinity came to be. But they've always wanted to do something related to fantasy. It was back in 2013 that my current team leader, Uwe Jesus Fuster V, was incorporated to Corvus Belli to work in a fantasy setting in a fantasy universe, and that started there, although it had to be paused. And when I joined Corvus Belli in September 2021, I believe, I'm reciting my memory, so maybe the dates are not like solid, but I think I remember the project had been worked on this time for real for like a year or so. So it was been created like the whole world building, the setting, because there's so much effort into the world we've created. And I think something to be very proud of is that we fabricated something, we tailored something that is very much alive. And you can see that whether you like the big world building with Lindrum and all its beautiful nations, but also in the microcosmos settings with Hawthorne Point, which is more or less like a representation of what's happening in a smaller scale, but it's like in a very tiny town. So, yeah, I would say a long time.
Yes, that's definitely a long time, but it sounds more like the true work has been the last 3 4 years.
I would say so, definitely, because we can say that around 2020, the people really started to work properly and something they knew it was going to translate to a product. It was not just brainstorming. It was preliminary work, but I don't know if I'm making myself clear in
Mm-hmm.
this one.
Yeah.
The previous attempts to work on a fantasy setting were a little bit more casual or just throwing some ideas out in the world. However, on 2020 and perhaps a wee bit earlier, this was it. This was the proper moment and the real deal when people started working on something we knew it was going to be translated into a product. And then, a year after or so, a year and a half, I joined the team and we've been working on it ever since.
That's fantastic. I have gotten a slight glimpse in some of the preview stuff, and I have to say that the work is amazing, highly in depth, and I am very excited to see a lot more about it.
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, I am something very fulfilling, I would say, about being the ambassador is that you are representing, you have a responsibility to represent a lot of people. It's not just you, it's not even just your team, but you're representing Corvus Belli, and I hope I can pay justice to all the work everyone is doing because let me emphasize that people are making a great effort in all the departments: design, production, development, sales, marketing, every single one. The art department, of course. We are really, really invested in this project, and we love our other son, which is Infinity. It's like I always see them as siblings, Infinity is the experienced elder sibling with so much to teach the younger sapling, which is Warcrow, just came into the world. It's like, hey. And then you have the Infinity person there that, listen, my love, there's a lot to tell you about the world you are going to step into. I have a very powerful imagination, so that works for me.
Yes, it definitely works. And I was gonna say, you personally, I think you have been doing a tremendous job of extending that
Oh,
enthusiasm because spending the time with you at Gen Con and our conversations here, your utter joy and enthusiasm, I think, is not just representing Hoopoe, but I think you're gathering it all from the entire team that you just named and putting all of it out into the universe.
thank you. That is such a big compliment because honestly, even because there's okay. So being a developer, welcome to my TED talk. Being a developer, it is hard. It has valleys, it has peaks. But if you think about it, what is not to love? I have such a privileged job. I mean, I'm creating fantasy universes and I'm
Hmm.
filling them with people. And then, alongside with all the marvelous people that are contributing with their own ideas and their skills, we are putting that onto the world and it works. It's mind blowing. It's like, wow, what is not to be, even if it's at its hardest moments, which they are. I mean, also, by the way, they don't pay us to play. I mean, I almost don't play at all. Like today, for example, I went to work. I did my work hours. I didn't touch a die. I didn't touch a model. I did I
Oh
just
no!
yeah, because that's like it's fun because it's difficult sometimes explaining what you do. It's a board
Right.
game developer,
It's not.
but
It's not play all day.
no,
I'm
no,
fairly
definitely
certain
not.
you mentioned at Gen Con when you played Dave. That was the first actual game of Warcrow that you've actually been able to play.
And I was not lying. It was the first time in which I had the opportunity to sit and just play, you know, for fun. Although my brain was thinking, mm. Then I was making notes. Like, okay, I'm so sorry. But yeah, I didn't have that chance recently and I miss it. And I hope once this is out, I would have the opportunity to play with you guys again for fun. Not for work, just for fun. Just like,
I'm
hey, let's
hoping
play
we all get the
Warcraft.
chance.
Yeah. I played Aristeia for fun and I played Rem Racers for fun, but not Warcraft.
Soon, TM, trademark. Soon. So, speaking of Gen Con, trying to transition a little bit. After playing and running the demos, wait, yes, after playing and running the demo games at Gen Con, it was very clear that Warcraft was not just fantasy infinity. Can you talk us through some of the processes and decisions that led to the mechanics that we saw in the beta test?
Okay, so I would say, and this would come as a surprise to nobody, trial and error were definitely is the base of any development process. But we knew we wanted something that incorporated everything we've learned from Infinity and all the experience gathered over the years to create something that is different. Because since you have also experienced that this is not just Infinity with the code of fantasy on it, it's a different game. We wanted something a little bit simpler, approachable, and like a very like lower. Um, I don't know how to put this into words in English. I don't even know if I can put them to words in Spanish, but we didn't want something as multifaceted as this Infinity, something a little bit like, yeah, something simpler and faster. And although I've seen very, very fast Infinity games, so
Yes.
like you said, on the clock. But we wanted something different and we wanted to experiment also with some mechanics that we had took from other games we have at Corvus Belli. For example, we don't use numbered dice, we use symbols,
Hmm.
and that comes from Aristeia and also Defiance. And then we also use those ones in Warcraft Adventures. So we had a target and we had a goal from the beginning that we wanted something valuable for the general public as an introduction. Let's just say that an introductory war game to someone that might not have been played a war game, but also something that can be enjoyable and fun for those war gamers, wargaming lobbies out there. So
Yes.
that was always our goal, to keep something, to not overcomplicate ourselves, because in the development process it's so easy to create multiple layers to cover something you need. It might not be a rule, it might be a keyword, but then that turns into a rule of its own, and then it modifies and opens the branches of new possibilities. And you need to be very strict when developing, because if you chase the white rabbit, you won't see the end of it, and you could end up just ruining the work that you've done because you wanted something simple, and then you ended up with a very crazy and knotted multiple
Highly
cables.
complex, yes.
Exactly. So that was for sure. And also we went to fantasy. And what else? What else? We wanted position to be a key part of the gameplay. It's not just kill everyone. It's a which, don't worry not, because I'm seeing you in the comments. Stop typing, I'm seeing you. If you want a massacre, you shall have it. I personally guarantee that you shall. But in this game, you also conquer targets that are on the board. So we wanted to play with position, we wanted to play with distance, and position is one of the key parts of Warcrow and these scenarios, and also scenarios, the start of the show, because those are the ones when you have a very solid base of rules, even though they're simple, the scenarios are the ones that allow you to explore them to the very last extent. So that's a scenario-based game as well. So I'm talking a lot. I am very talkative. I knew that, but when I come to these interviews, it's like, yes,
it's the enthusiasm. Like I said, it's the enthusiasm and joy of the game you've helped design is coming through, and you're channeling it for the entire design team.
Thank you.
So since Gen Con
I hope I answered your question.
You did. Thank you. You did.
Because that is a superpower of mine. I can go on emitting sounds non-stop for hours and hours and say nothing at all. It's just blah, 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 blah.
Thankfully, yes, you made sense on that one.
Thank you.
So Gen Con was the first exposure of the wargame mechanics to the general public. What was it like as a game designer and brand ambassador seeing that reaction from the general public? And did you have a favorite moment or interaction? And were there any reactions or comments that were completely unexpected by you?
Okay, it is as daunting and terrifying as it is exciting and bone-chilling, because it's such a weird mixture of sensations. You are dying for the people to try your game, but you're also very scared that they're not gonna like it, that you didn't do a good job in explaining or delivering it to the public, because that is something games suffer sometimes quite a lot. It's not that the game is bad per se, is that people fail at the delivery of the instructions. It is complicated creating a game, so you are fearing that you didn't do a good job. You start questioning absolutely everything when you see the first person grab a model to move it. It's like, oh my god, no. It's just like, but at the same time, you're passionate, and there is this pulsing urge for people to see everything and experience everything. And when they do something as you decided to work, it's magical. So you're like, yes. Exactly. And I remember we had the welcome of the game was fantastic. People really enjoyed it. Some people were skeptical and they said that they really liked it. Although what I enjoy the most is when people are honest about their opinions and feelings. If the game's not for you, I'd rather you tell me, because that's fine. I mean, there's a lot of games out in the world. It's okay. Sometimes, people are very nice and they try to, not be too harsh. But I remember there was this very odd game in which nothing worked as it should. The choices were unusual. The development and the pace was quite strange. Thus, when the end of the game came, no one was really. It was not very clear what they've been playing for a while, and I didn't even know because like I never expected this to happen. It was very enriching as as a developing perspective, but they didn't have much fun, although I did, because I was just seeing, wow, the possibilities were here also. It's just we didn't explore them. Although I would say my favorite reaction was it's not a precise one, but there was a game in which we started because so many people, oh my God, thank you so much to everyone who came at Jenkin to play. So many people were interested and wanted to play. Thus, what we did was pairing up. We created teams, and two people would play one army, and two people would play the opponent. This is not how the game works, but screw it. I mean, we wanted you guys to play, and there were four people that were thinking out loud and just like contemplating all the strategy behind it, and it was so much fun hearing them deliberating and considering and plotting. They really got they got into paper. It was just so fun because that when people really like when they are immersed into your game, the narrative, the game mechanics, whatever they prefer, it is fantastic. I remember I laughed a lot because it was like seeing two different war councils discussing the next movement as if it was determining the fate of the entire world. So
Yes, all of Lindworm hangs in the balance.
exactly. It was just like, and I remember particularly someone who was very young telling me that the Wise Mane was their favorite model.
Okay.
And I said, thank you, mine too. It is my favorite model from the battle pack. And I was very like, oh, when you match with someone in preferences, it's like, oh. And also, every single person, thank you to all of you who told me how much of daddy energy Drago the Anvil is giving to you. I know. I'm aware. I celebrate it.
Drago is probably one of my favorites out of that whole battle pack.
Yeah.
Just
I need to tell you, did I tell you the story behind Drago? I
you did
cannot
not?
share. No, I can't share, unfortunately. Sorry. But I will tell you when this is over.
Okay. That sounds fantastic. Thank you.
I love him, though. I really like him.
Maybe we can come back and share it later after the release so we can share with everybody a little bit
Yeah,
more.
I would ask. I will ask because I reckon I would be able to. Because, I am this kind of person that really grows attached to the soldiers and troops on her army. I mean, I give them names and I create background stories for all of them. It doesn't matter if they're happy or not.
And
So
that's
when
fantastic.
Drago was not Drago, I created a story for him. I don't know if that made it into the lore, if it was ignored, if it was like parallel but not written, but the story of Drago is there.
Then that's awesome. For those who don't know, for our viewers, Drago the Anvil is the leader of the Hegemony of Emberzig as part of the battle pack that we released at Gen Con 2024.
He's a hitman and he is going to be played by Pedro Pascal in the upcoming Warcrow movie. I wish one day I
Is
can make that
Pedro
an
aware of
official
that?
announcement.
Is Pedro aware of that?
Pedro.
Is
Pedro
he
Pascal.
aware of that yet?
Not yet, but here goes an anecdote. I was so adamant about it at Jenkin that a person approached me and asked me, do you know Pedro Pascal? Because I was like, just saying, yeah, like for sure, he's going to play Drago when we make the film. And someone came after the seminar to say, excuse me, did you say you know Pedro Pascal? He's like, I wish. I don't know Pedro Pascal. Pedro, if you're watching this, big fan. But also something I just remembered. I don't know if your question was regarding the game, like the in-game demos, but there is actually two moments that were quite moving for me particularly.
Okay, what were those?
So I remember during the seminar we were showing the miniatures in Battle Pack,
Yes.
and when we were showing the amazing painted models from the northern tribes, I paused and I pointed at them and said, by the way, these two in here are girls.
Hmm.
Because in the northern tribes in this game, women have their place, whether they are warriors, healers, officers, support characters, they are present as equally as men. And then the only two girls that were at the seminar came afterwards to say first thank you for the inclusion of women in this game. Second, thanks for the variety of women because we don't have was just if you've seen the characters in a dungeon crawler, we have a variety of ages, body types. Yeah, it's like
Yes.
people because people exist. And then one of them told me that she was very keen on Warcraft because she realized that I was not just a girl because a gender, because I've been accused of being a gender, la gente, but that I was a girl and a developer. So she really liked that. And I wanted to hold her. I didn't because personal space, but I wanted to.
Yes.
Also, there was a table in between, but
Because you were still up on the riser and she wasn't. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That was very much like because I want everyone playing Warcraft. Everyone,
Yes.
all of you. We want you to play Warcraft.
Warcrow takes over the world, and you decide the
Yes,
fate of
please.
Lindworm.
Yes, please. And thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for that. During those same Gen Con demos, so this beta test that we saw surprise enemies appear, such as Cuddles, on the battlefield that both players had to manage and maneuver around. Will this be typical of games in Warcrow in those scenarios, or is this specifically for the demos to kind of add an additional, enemy out there for everyone to face?
There will be something like that definitely in scenarios, but scenarios are very varied and different, and you you should not expect cuddles to appear in every single one of them. No, it might
Oh,
vary. Well, we wanted to introduce the random because you know that in Warcraft we have the turn tracker, which is this disc with
yes.
positions in turns. And we play a lot with events. Sometimes the events would be cuddles. Sometimes the events will be purely narrative. Sometimes the events would require players to make a choice or do something specific. So definitely that is going to play a major part. About the random enemies, some people are fond of it because they think of fun. Some people are not that keen because, especially if you're talking about the competitive side of the game, random doesn't
Yeah.
match very well. That's the reason why when we are to develop the competitive version of Warcraft, that will be entirely different. But definitely you can expect some unexpected things to occur in some scenarios. Of course, you're going to have your standard. That's for certain. You're going to have your standard scenario where everything is under control and nothing is going to jump scare you or anything. But then we are exploring with not just cuddles, but all that kind of events occurring, NPCs that are just there and
Okay.
might be able to give you a hand or not. Um, don't trust the NPCs, says the big NPC fabric. Don't trust NPCs ever. Because
There's
you will grow fond of them. You will grow attached. And then something will happen.
and they will stab you in the back,
Or they will break your heart.
or
Some
kind of, yeah.
otherwise. I don't know. So definitely the enemies, events, happenings is something we are testing with in scenarios and it's proven to be really fun. So
Okay.
yes, you can expect these kind, not always with cuddles, but it could be, other stuff. Very fun.
Okay.
Always very fun.
I'm actually very excited to see more of what you come up with for those scenarios and those unexpected NPCs. And
I wish I
little
could tell
twists.
you more. I really wish. But
Soon. Once again,
the elder
soon.
deity have my lips sealed.
Ah, yes. Yes. But soon. TM. Trademark.
Yeah, of course.
Soon.
To-
Let's see. After we, well, sorry, when we spoke at Gen Con, you mentioned that Warcrow was a blend of game mechanics and narrative. Can you kind of explain that a little bit further? Give some, ideas of what that looks like?
So, what for certain we wanted to show is that there's a world building behind and a lore behind it. So, narrative plays an important part in the creation of armies, troops, in shaping what each army excels at and what the flaws are as well. For example, if we say that the hegemony of Emberzig prouds itself at having the professional army of Lindrum, this needs to show in the game as a mechanic using the command tokens, the structure of the army, and the different units that can join. Even the same shape, for example, the officers. Because the hegemony of Vengersig narratively has been built in such a manner, the hegemony of Vengersig will have more traditionally connected officers to the army than other people that, the armies may play the same role, but it's not, it's not a captain, it's not a lieutenant, it's not a hitman, for example, or a general. So something important for us, and this is where the key is, at least in my opinion, is that we're not creating a game according to a narrative. What we did was the opposite. We created a narrative that serves the game. So it is really nice going throughout the background of the nations and all our notes, because it is a game. It has to work. It needs to be functional. Narrative is what gives it like the flavor to it, the sazon,
Yes.
like the Cuban said, the distinguish. For example, the hegemony of Emberzig is very good at defending. Why? Because they have armors, professionally made armors. The orcs, their defense might be weaker in comparison to the roles of the hegemony. However, the brutes, they're bigger in size. They can charge further, they can reach, they can run, and they can smash skulls very easily. So that shows in game. So that's what I meant when I said that he's like narratively very tight. And the nations and the Lord have been designed to create a game, a war game, not the other way around. It's not like, oh, we told a story, now we're going to make a game about it. No. We're going to make a game that needs a story.
Very nice. I like it.
It is difficult doing that.
I'm sure it is.
Because you see, and also this is where the fun part about people having their favorites comes into play. Because of course, we all have our favorites, and we all have our army to be the best one, and to best all of the others. But that cannot be.
Right.
So when we are doing testing or when we are discussing together, there's always people toning down your desires, my desires for death and blood. Because this is a very simple example, but it works. If someone is very good at attacking, it should be weaker at defending. Because if not, it is not fair. Or the cost in points is so high that you don't have anything else on your list. So like, I'll have this. That's it. So
here's Njord, here's skin changers. That's all I have.
Oh god. Oh god, the skin changers. See, these girls, I believe the Howling Skin Changer is among the best models ever put into the world by Corvus Belli.
I can't wait to see
She
it.
is. Wow. That's a personal take. Do not be offended if you like something else. I like the Skin Changers a lot. They're not even my army. So.
No, so For those who weren't able to join us at Gen Con, the Skin Changers are part of the Northern Tribes. They are part of the Verank, which has an alliance right now with the Orcs, being led by one of each, I believe, one Orc, one Verank, in that
Mm-hmm.
alliance. We
Oh,
have
you
not, we
know.
the general public have not had the privilege of seeing the Skin Changers yet, because we were playing with a picture on the a base.
Through testing material, though. That's
Yes,
what we use to
it
play.
worked it worked perfectly. So for the beta test and to get the flavor of it, and I'm excited to see more of it. So hearing you say it's the best thing that Corvus Belli has potentially put out there has me extremely excited.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that were switching armies when they saw the skin changes. There were very, very many hegemonic citizens being like, "Oh, I'm so sure the hegemony is my army. Go, go, Black Legion!" And then we show the skin changes, like, "I am switching sides." Like the viral TikTok audio, switching sides, switching sides. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I understand everything I do. If for those of you who really enjoy the lore, as I am, can I tell them a little bit more about the skin changes
Oh,
and why
please.
they are as they are?
We would love to hear
So,
anything you were willing to share and able to
oh
share.
yes, I know the story. So when the Varang reach a certain age, I'm quoting my memory, but I believe it's 14. Every single one of the Varang has a special ceremony celebrated, which is a ceremony of the tattoo, in which they get a tattoo of a specific animal. I'm not going to give you the details because I want you to read about it. But the thing is, that spirit manifests in a more powerful way in some Varang than others. So much so that just a handful of them can literally turn into the animal they have tattooed. And those are the skin changers. Some of the Varang can extract some powers or features from the animals, say strength, a sharper sight, um, easier. What's the word in English? An easier way of traversing difficult paths, to move in difficult terrain. But the skin changers can have all of that and then morph into the animal. That's why the models we're presenting are mid morphing. The more powerful the skin
Oh.
changer is, the closer the morphing is to be complete. Like the most powerful ones. Um let's put one example: a bear, a polar bear. The most powerful skin changer will be able to turn into sort of a magical version of that polar bear, whereas the skin changer that's just like getting into it can have maybe the claws, the muscle, the strength, the build of a bear, but not shape, like that, not change entirely. And those
Okay.
are the skin changes.
Very cool. And I'm really cannot wait to see Skin Changers in mid morph. Oh, that sounds like it's gonna be fun.
I wish I could tell you more. Honestly, I will though in time.
All in due time. It will all come out.
Thank you for the patience.
there's a set schedule for a reason. I know we've talked about Hawthorne Point a couple times so far. So many of our viewers, so many of our viewers might be aware and familiar with the Kickstarter campaign for Warcrow Adventures, and Warcrow Adventures is centered on the town of Hawthorne Point. The question I have is, how is that dungeon crawler going to work in conjunction with the war game?
Okay, so we planned as we announced during the Kickstarter campaign, we wanted everything at the dungeon crawler to be playable in time at the war game. I cannot give you precise dates or details about it, but definitely, I mean, we know that the day we release Warcrow, it won't be like the profiles won't be available like date one, but
Mm-hmm.
over time we want to bring into the war game everyone, and I mean everyone, characters included, because some people were asking, oh yeah, for sure, can we play with the characters? Yes, you can. I mean, you can incorporate them to your army. So it's a process that we're gonna do, creating profiles to the models that come in the the dungeon crawler into the war game for you to enjoy them on your armies. Now, narratively speaking, so okay, I need to remember that I love them. So our dysfunctional family of 14 members, a dog and a bird, they go to Hawthorne Point and things happen, events occur, and sometime after, the world is at war.
Okay.
Because events occurred, things happened. Now, is there any relationship between the two moments? I mean, yeah, but I cannot tell you which one it is because I want you to play the dungeon crawler.
Okay.
Let's just say that they are significant somehow. Yes.
So what I'm hearing is, one, I get to play Darach Wildling in my
Yes.
CNN army, which is, if we talked about favorites, that's my favorite.
Your favorite is that?
Yes.
Hey, oh, he's such a sweetheart. I mean, he's difficult, but he has a very good heart.
Unless you step foot into his forest.
Food. No, unless you touch his food. Do you know, friends, Joey doesn't share food?
Yes. Darach does not.
He's hungry. His status is permanently hungry.
Gotcha.
He enjoys his food a lot. He's the only one. Some details, like narrative details, I can give you because you like that is that he is the only one allowed to call Soka, the dwarf, shorty. If anyone else does that, he will personally kill them because that's his right he earned. He has a beautiful relationship with Ludivine from Feudum. Like at the end of the dungeon crawler, they're practically best friends, brother and sister. They really love each other dearly.
Wow.
They have a very nice relationship. They like a found family kind of thing. The whole bunch of 14 characters, a dog and a bird. It's like a found family, but there's a beautiful relationship, like brother and sister, with Darach and Luci, and I love that so much. And also, what else? He has a younger sister.
Oh.
I'm just leaving that there, and her teacher. And I'm gonna stop there.
Okay. I can't wait to hear more.
And yeah.
And
he's
learn
the best,
more as
the
I
best
play.
costumer at the Brave Party. Yeah.
Awesome. But yeah, so going back to the answer real quick, there's very clearly an impact from either the dungeon crawler or the war game, or vice versa, or both.
Yes,
and we all just have to like discover it and learn it as we play, which is going to be awesome.
Yeah, and mechanically, yes, you can expect everyone to be playable. For those of you out there, where are our lover of the red caps? Our red cap lovers, where are you? Yes, these means you can also play with the red caps. Again, I cannot give you a time schedule. That will be very unrealistic of me.
Right.
But what I can guarantee won't be like out day one. But absolutely, we promised we would do that, and we will. But it takes time. There's a lot of work to be put into, and but yeah, we don't forget about that for sure.
That's awesome.
So this means that if you purchase the dungeon crawler, you will have a almost whole army of Yaldabaoth. Just say it. Just say it.
Not playing favorites, right?
No.
Clearly not.
Can he play Lola? Will Lola have a profile named Lola? I don't know.
We can hope.
Can you imagine? We can have Lola and Cuddles like in the war game as Lola and Cuddles.
Yes, please.
There would be mercenaries. You can see Drago just taking Lola for a walk with a little leash.
I would absolutely convert that up and model it.
Wow, that would be so cool. If only I would be as talented.
Speaking of conversions, actually, that's a really nice segue into our next question. Can you tell us about the materials of the miniatures for
Oh, I
both
thought you were
Warcrow
going to ask me to.
Adventures? No,
Okay.
no. So personally, the one of the things that Corvus Belli has helped me unlock in myself personally is that artistic side. Like it's helped me unleash that ability of this vision of seeing conversions, and that's what I've done in Infinity. And I'm hoping to translate that over also to Warcrow. So since we talked about conversions just a minute ago, fortuitously, because that was not scripted in any way. Uh,
No.
what are the? Can you tell us a little bit about the materials for both Warcrow Adventures and Warcrow the War Game?
Yes, so Warcraft Adventures will be made in PVC plastic, like the latest expansions of Aristeia. If you got your hands on any of those, then you got it, that kind of quality plastic. And then Warcraft would be made at home as Corvus Belli, and it will be injected thermoplastic.
Okay,
Yeah,
very nice.
very, very much conversion friendly, if you like that. So.
Yes, the demo miniatures that were handed out at Gen Con of 2022. What do you remember? What material that was? Because I'm sure several of our viewers probably have those in their hands.
Yeah, from Walker Adventures.
Yes,
I am afraid I don't know. I would
okay,
have to ask, but now I have no
that's
idea.
not a problem. I was just trying to see
Thank
if there was a
you.
way to compare, but com-
Oh, no, I'm trying to.
okay. No, then that's fine.
I
And of
don't know.
course, I have one or two here, but I wouldn't know the difference. I I think it was the stuff made at home.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
I
So the
think
injected
that's
thermoplastic.
entirely a possibility. But again, don't take anything I say for like the word because I don't. It's not that I don't want to. It's just I don't remember.
And that's
So no,
okay.
sometimes being the ambassador is a little bit tricky because some people suspect that when you say you don't know, what you mean is I can't say. But with me, at least, if I say I don't know, truthfully, is that I don't know. When I can't say, I would express, "Oh, sorry, my lips are sealed," but I don't remember.
And thank you for the honesty on it, which one of those two it is. But yes, a little bit has happened since those were handed out from Warcraft
I bet,
Adventures. So
yeah.
yeah, just a little bit. Can we talk for half a second about Warcrow wanting to have an organized competitive play? And I think you hinted at it a little bit earlier. Do you
Hmm.
do the organizers, do the game developers have any idea what that'll look like yet, or is it far too early to tell?
It's a bit too early. Definitely, we can guarantee that we want Warcraft to have its dimension, its competitive dimension, of course. But I'm afraid it is too early to give out any details, and we don't know yet what it would look like. But yeah, absolutely, we want to have that side of the game because
Okay.
it is good fun. It is very fun.
It is. It is. There's things to be said about narrative play as well as tournaments and competitive play. There's a
Exactly.
place for both.
There's still a lot to be worked on, but those are definitely things we want to get our hands to. Because also, can we talk for a moment, not just about Warcraft, but the healthy community that Infinity has, competitive wise, Aristeia community that's so. I would eat your face, like we say in Spain. They're so healthy and nice and welcoming. So once you have that experience with such a big game as this Infinity, that has such a nice community, of course you want that for your other games. I'm talking about not only Warcraft, but any game that we put out that
Hmm.
may be susceptible of having a competitive dimension. We would love that amazing community to be something like that in Warcraft because it's really I don't know how to express it. It just shows you how good people really are, and because sometimes competitive gaming can be a bit difficult.
Overly
But our
competitive.
community, yeah, but our community, the people that follow Corvus Belli, the Affinity community, and the Aristeia community is just like Chef's kiss.
Yes, I would
All,
agree.
all of you out there, I'm hugging your head from a distance. Thank you.
I can absolutely agree. Some of my best friends now are because of the Infinity competitive community and meeting everybody at conventions and ITS events and you name it. So absolutely could not agree more. So I will do my part, my small little part, to hopefully help enrich that and foster it when Warcrow is out.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ah, so much love to our game, and it's not out yet.
It's not here yet.
My heart is just growing.
Like the Grinch, right? It
Yeah.
grew 2 sizes.
Although I don't have a heart like the green type, mine is a wee bit bigger. But yeah, it
Oh
grows
yeah, but
every
it's
time.
still yeah.
Every time people say like nice things about a game or they showers us with love, with constructive criticism, with good comments, with encouraging messages, because again, being a developer, welcome to a TED Talk. It can be hard, and working at the market is not easy. But then you receive a message for the sales team, a message for the art team, a message for the production team, for the marketing team, and it's just like, thank you, we love you. That is like our gasoline. It's just woo.
That's fantastic. Speaking of the art, I personally cannot wait to see the art. I love all arts. Cannot wait.
I'm gonna quote our beloved Tim over here. You don't know this, but I do. I am very much looking forward for you to see everyone.
And I
All
oh,
of our children are very good looking and gorgeous and wonderful.
and that's gonna be the best part. Speaking of art, uh, the rules, the actual mechanics are Infinity has that downloadable for free on the website. Is the same going to be true of Warcrow, the Wargame?
Yes,
And on top of that,
absolutely.
will there be physical books, lore books that we put out so everybody can learn about Lindworm?
Uh-huh. Yes.
Oh, even
Yes.
better. Even
Uh-huh.
better. The with that piece, will there be so Infinity has different lore books that come out to advance the
Hmm.
storyline? Is you may or may not know this yet, but is that the plan to do this something similar with Warcrow and advance the storyline within Lindworm?
Potentially, yes, because we have constructed very well how the world is looking when everything changes, have something events occur. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
something happens, multiple somethings happen, and let's be realistic. I mean, even at the if you learn the story of Hawthorne Point, it is a free port. But it is because no one wanted to leave and everyone was killing each other over Hawthorne Point. So they said,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? An armistice will do. But it's this like every single one of the nations is waiting for the perfect excuse to smack the other one in the head. So it's not, it's just, you will learn this when you read the law book. Hegemony and feudal. And then we have the northern tribes, which are like, hey, don't mind me, just casually calming down. Hello, how you guys doing? And then we have the CNN, just like, I wonder what life is outside of my forest. I reckon I would like it. And then there's a George being like, guys, we have a plan and it's starting. Okay, come on, like, look alive. We need to. And then sometimes the thing with war games is that everyone has an interest, but sometimes, often, all the time, those interests crash frontally with your neighbor's
Mm-hmm.
interests. So it's not that, of course, something happens during the Hawthorne Point adventure that, like the drop that just fills the glass. Well, everyone's just waiting for that to happen. It's like, okay, give me an excuse. Give it to me. Give it to me. I want it. I'm going to take it. So definitely we want the narrative to progress with the game, not only mechanical wise, but also, will we see where everything takes us? So that is very
Okay.
exciting. I can't wait, honestly, because
Awesome.
it's something I don't know myself. You can have a plan, But as a person working in such a creative position, you need to be very open to things to change drastically. So,
True. Very true, because you never know what's going to happen. There could be seasons, like with ITS or whatever the worker will be, and that could impact where you want the story to go.
perhaps. I
Awesome.
don't honestly, I don't know this one, but yeah, potentially the narrative is going to evolve and grow as the game does it. So,
Which is awesome. Let's see. Sorry, I've got all my for those who don't know, I've got all my questions down here. So if you see me glancing down, that's what I'm looking at.
I'm having so much fun. I am having the time of my life in here.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear it. So am I. We've seen that Warcrow currently makes use of unit and character cards.
Hmm.
What is Corvus Belli's plan for army building? And will there be a free army builder similar to what Infinity has with the army? And if the printed cards are sold with the game, how will updates be distributed if and when updates happen to a unit or a character?
Okay, so the game's going to have cards, that's for sure. Everything will be also available for printing
Okay.
and free downloadable, and it's going to be an army exactly. Yeah, you have it like we have an Infinity, which is something fantastic, and we want that for Warcrow as well. I cannot tell you how is it going to look like, but definitely will be an army builder.
Okay.
That's for sure. Now, since the cards are going to be available in every product, I mean, there's not going to be the case that you purchase something without a card. What happens with updates if we need to change something? Those will be also downloadable and free at Corvus Belli's website, all of the updates on the cards to be made, because we understand how even if we are giving you the physical card, sometimes change happen. And you know what, naturally, if the game grows, change ought to happen. I mean,
Right.
it's a good thing that varies. Like, we're not playing the same thing we did, like, I don't know, 10 years ago. So definitely, because we don't want to sell the cards again to you, we will have those available on PDF. So,
Okay. That's good to know. Thank you. The fact that we'll be able to, if Drago the Anvil gets updated, we can download it, print it, and use
oh
that in our
yeah,
next games.
yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. Speaking about the model range and stuff like that, do you happen to know if there's or what the anticipated size of an entire faction might be at this time? So, like, Hegemony of Embersig will have 100 models to have
I
the
have
full
no
completion
idea.
list. Okay.
I mean, because if you think of it, your gut tells you all of them, all like non-stop, because we have so much is on the works, like so much. Like just for to tell you, I was working on something with a particular faction that shall not be named, and then I made a crossroads, and I realized I had to choose between two different troops.
Ooh.
And then my first instinct was, but I want them both. Why do I have to choose? And that's just a glimpse of how much is on the works, how much we are not discarding, but if you read some of the articles at workcraft.com, we talk about the fridge a lot. This is the place where the ideas go to. They don't get thrown away. Everything goes to the fridge or the freezer. And sometimes in the future we take them out. Sometimes they unfortunately are discarded. But just to give you an idea of how much there is that at this point we are picking.
That's awesome. So that
Yeah,
means
so I have no idea. I'm really sorry, but if it's personal, I want all of them. I want everything we have on the fridge right now to have a model, which is very, it backfires a lot because you keep on thinking and then you come up with a different troop that could be a character. And
oh,
that means two profiles. But what about these person that appeared in a random scenario or in a random story about Lindworm back in the day? We can't make a character and there could be. It is like that. It is painful and it's just tiring. Yeah.
that to me means that this world of Lindworm is far more deep and expansive than any of us probably even can fathom at this point, and that is fantastic to hear.
I think I probably have mentioned it at the beginning of the interview because this is something I love about Warcrow and Lindworm as a universe. It is so much alive. You can see if you play the Dungeon Crawler, you can see that when you talk to the NPCs and go about your scenarios and your progress in the campaign, everyone has a life, and it is so beautiful seeing that. And then in a bigger scale, you have Lindworm, which is also alive and has a lot of people going about their day. And there is place for war and conflict, but there is also this place for relationships to thrive and families to be found in it. I'm very passionate about our universe.
I couldn't tell, not at all.
I'm so sorry. I am a softie. Like, I am soppy. I'm very much aware. It's not. I'm not excusing myself. I'm explaining because I like being this soppy. I once was told by a colleague, Alberto Aval, that he once told me, "You want to be bad and mean, like a Saiyan, but you are Ludivine at heart." And then I said, "Absolutely yes." I am her. I have her mama bear inclination, so
Yes,
to speak. I want everyone to be
protective of
okay.
everything. Yes.
Yes, and
For
I want
those who are
everyone
not
to be
aware,
hydrated.
Ludivine. For those who don't know, Ludivine is the cleric from the feudum.
She's the priestess of Celas. She's not the purest heart in Lindwood because that corresponds to Soka. Soka is the purest heart and soul in Lindworm. Lucci is just good. She's just good, and she worries professionally. She takes worrying to an Olympic sport level. She is always worried about everyone. But to be fair, Scott, should you have those companions, wouldn't you be worried again?
I would be very worried, and that's just based off of having played the Warcrow Adventures demo about a dozen times.
No. I'm so excited for you to play the whole thing. You need to, when you actually play the scenarios, you need to give me a full report on every single one of them.
I can
I want to
absolutely
see
do
your
that.
reaction to the
Maybe
campaign.
we'll even play through several of them here on the stream, on the
I would
channel.
love that.
So we can do that. Yes, I'm super excited for it. So
Oh, yes.
early next year cannot come soon enough. So we've talked a little bit about the factions. We've talked about feudum and the hegemony of Emberzig, Northern Tribes, uh, Merchants Alliance, CNN, and Mount Haven. Did I miss any? Scions of
Yeah.
Yaldabaoth.
Well,
Excuse me.
but those are not a nation. Those are gold.
uh,
Sorry, I'm going to stop doing that.
so, from what I understand, those are all the playable factions between the war game and the adventures, the dungeon crawler. Well, each one of them, and I think you talked about this a little bit earlier. Each one of them will probably have their own like style of play,
Yeah.
which is different. I know you mentioned like hegemony is more defensive because of their armor and their rigorous army training, so they're going to be a little bit better on the defensive versus Northern Tribes, who's going to be better at attacking and probably retaliating, which is the retaliation mechanic, because of their brutality. So we can expect each one of them to have a different feel.
Yes, that would be something we want to drive towards in the development process because it's not really that fun because when you a basic rule of war games is community, not in the general sense of players, community of players, but the sense of belonging to a faction. When you start a war game, even though you have 3 different armies, you're married to one. This is your army. This is the faction that represents me. And you want this to feel different and special to you in a manner. If you play the hegemony and then you take CNN and the gameplay is exactly the same, this means we failed at our job because it shouldn't be. They don't look alike way beyond appearance. I mean, they are not built. The culture is not the same one. The style of the army is not the same one. So you need to be able to perceive those differences on the board. So yes, every single faction has something they're very good at, or at least 1 or 2 things we gave them and want to explore. And as you know, elves are very swift and quick, and they are very easily moving. Then we have the orcs, which are brutal and charge. With the hegemony is much more in the military side of it and takes advantage of the command tokens. And I don't know, just things that come to my mind. And while trying not to give you too much spoilers, because I am going to be dead if I do.
Nobody wants that.
No,
Nobody wants that.
I mean the science do want that because they can bring me back, but they will give me a new pair of hands, and oh, and hopefully potentially wings.
Ooh,
I
possibly.
love Samara so much. Oh, they are amazing. So definitely we want to reach a point of the gameplay in which all of the factions are as welcoming. They want you to play with them, but you can feel the difference. And that also attracts players a lot because there's many different kinds of players and we love all of them. So you should give people the chance to explore and enjoy the mechanics that resonate more with them when they play. Some
That's
people are strategic, some people are fearless and ruthless, some other people are mischievous and you know, you need to give them the chance to have their place on the board, on the
yes, and
table.
feel connected.
Yeah, and that's the reason why also the within the same army we would like to give a chance for you to build whatever works better for you. If you want a more defensive take, if you like playing with magic, if you're not then fond of magic that much, again, it's been very fun creating the lists, especially because every single one of us and the team enjoys something different. That is something, even though it can be seen as something detrimental because we don't agree in everything all the time, I think it enriches the game to a very, very high extent because you have all the perspectives, or at least multiple. And then, of course, we have our playtesters who bring their own perspective and their own liking and the background and the reasoning and the strategic movements and way of thinking. So the whole game nourishes from that. It's a beautiful process to see. Difficult sometimes, but beautiful because it's a joint effort. It's the fruits of this multiple branched tree.
Yes, yes, that sounds fantastic. And like I said, I could not envy your job of trying to make it all work while keeping it all balanced while telling this beautiful story all at the same time.
It has its moments. Like it's not always sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. Like no, no, no. It has very difficult days, but everything difficult, everything worth it is difficult. I don't know if that is the literal translation of an idiom in Spanish, but I don't know if that works.
No, it works. It works perfectly. It
Thank you.
you the things are very worth it the harder you work at it. If it just comes easy,
Yes,
you don't appreciate it.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So that works very, very well. I
And we
know.
know many of you appreciate it, so thank you again.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're very welcome. We've talked a little bit about some of the game mechanics in this, and I know in our previous Brawlhalla video where I talked about the Gen Con demos, we talked about some of the mechanics. So stress, retaliation, rejecting and defeating a foe, things like that. What's your favorite mechanic currently in the game and why?
Ooh, ooh. Ooh. Okay, I really like magic, but I'm a wizard player, so. And I something I love is the movement. I think is that and the nobody is left behind mechanic, which for those of you who don't know, at the end of each round, all the units that didn't activate, because in this game we alternate activations, and each player activates one unit. It can happen that at the end of the round you didn't activate everyone, so these people can perform a movement to bring them closer. Not sometimes closer to the jaleo, to the brawl, but just you can reposition them, and I think that makes the pace of the game much quicker and it gives you this feeling of I have things to do, I have options, because sometimes what happens is that by some time into the game you haven't moved or activated a unit, it is likely to stay where they are, which is unfair because you spent your points on it. You
Mhm.
wanted to use it at some point. So I would say it's either the movement as a thing with a little row and the possibility to turn and the easy of the numbers to read. I think that's a very nice mechanic. Or the nobody is left behind mechanic, because I don't want anybody to be left behind.
You're showing your love for everyone again, aren't you?
I mean, I am. Yeah, I do. The hegemony of Embazig has great peeps. There is our war surgeon. She is a pal. She's a sister. And then you have the Northern tribes, and you have the Evoker and the Wise Mane. Um, Also, you have other people with hegemony that I was just about to mention, and I can't because you guys haven't seen them.
We haven't seen them yet.
Yeah, I think my brain put on the filter last moment, be like, shh.
Oh, good, good, because we wouldn't want anything to happen to you.
I mean, I can always ask you to put a beep on top of it.
We could do that. We could do that.
No, no, I didn't. I stopped. I stopped
Yes,
on time.
that's very good. Thank you. Thank you for showing that restraint. I think I've got just two last questions for you before we can wrap up and we can go about our hopefully sunshiny days there in Spain. I know it's sunshiny here in Chicagoland.
It is sunshiny here, although that is not something that I enjoy particularly.
Ah, gotcha. You prefer fog induced covers?
It is not. It is not because this is not the. Oh, I like the science part. No, I do love gloomy, quote unquote, weather. I love cloudy weather. I love the rain and cold. I'm much more winter person than
Ah,
I am.
yes.
And it is October. Spooky season is here,
It is
and
officially
yeah.
here. I agree. Also, Chicago. I'm fine with the winters, not so much the summers. So we did talk about the two-player starter, which is coming out. So that's the Northern Tribes, so the Orcs and Verank, as well as the Hegemony of Emberzig, and we've talked about all the other factions. How long can all of the fans of the other factions kind of expect to wait before theirs are released?
Okay. So I cannot give you exact dates because I don't know.
Right, and that's
So we
expected.
want everyone to be released in time. I reckon like within 2 years, all the factions will be available for purchasing and playing. And we don't want much time to go in between releases. We
Mhm.
don't want, say, for example, a year to be in between the next one, the Northern Tribes and the Hegemony, and then the next one to be like, oh, a year or something. So we really want the nations, the ones that we are going to go for, the Hegemon of Embazig, the Northern Tribes. This is not the order. This is the nations that I don't know the order.
Right.
And we have those two, and then the other ones waiting would be Feudom, Mount Haven, the CNN, and the Science of Yellow Earth.
All right. Merchants Alliance.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Oh, never heard of them. Okay.
No, only my favorite person in the entire Lindwall universe lives in those alliances. But we're talking about
Oh,
Ismail. Ismail is my favorite character.
which one is?
Ismail, the 14-year-old
Oh,
wizard.
yes, yes.
I love him. I mean, he's absolutely my favorite character. He's so special to me in so many ways. So,
That is awesome, and
but
he's
also
he's
he's a
in Warcrow
younger.
Adventures.
Yes. Well,
Oh,
no, the within Lindworm.
right, but I mean, and he is specifically listed in
Oh yes,
as
he
part of
is
Warcrow
a
Adventures,
Kickstarter exclusive for Warcraft Adventures,
which is awesome.
and he's very petite. He's so short. Oh. He could fit perfectly on Ormug's hand and his
Oh
shoulder or
wow,
something. Ormug can just carry Ismail like a parrot on his shoulder, but Ormug is massive, so
Watermilk is massive, and I can't wait to actually see that one in person when my Kickstarter delivers next year.
Oh yeah, his model looks wicked. It's so I really like Ormoku. I wanted a
Cannot
plushie of
wait.
Ormoku.
Is there, so last question that I have written down here, is there anything new or special that you are able to share with our viewers today?
Oh, I don't think there is. Well, you know that I can tell you that as well as it's going to be an expansion on the Northern Tribes troops with Njord and the Skate Changers, the Hegemony of Ambazig will have someone too.
Ooh.
And you guys might not realize, but you've met them, you've seen them. Not gonna say where, I'm not gonna say
Oh.
how, or they are very fun to play. And I'm very excited for that to be announced. Unfortunately, I can't, I'm sorry. But I'm just excited for the people waiting. There's many people waiting already, Crow, eager to play and to meet everyone and the nations and the characters. And that is heartwarming. Thank you so much. Not just from me, from the whole development team, and from Corvus Belli. Thank you, truly. We are so grateful for everything. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Hoopoe, for spending, you know, this time with us today. Really, really appreciate all the information, and I'm sure everybody will love to hear this information and so much more as the months roll by as we get closer to release. Great
I
seeing you
have a
again. Oh
question.
yes, please.
Um, I am in Brawlhalla.
Yes.
Does this make me a bro officially? Am I a
Oh
bro?
yes, absolutely,
Hmm?
absolutely. Welcome
I can
to
add that to my
Brawlhalla.
badges. Yes. I am I am the sis of the bros.
It it absolutely works, and we are happy
Just
to welcome you.
thank you so much for having me. I hope I will be back with more juicy information to all of you. And yeah, thank you so much for everything. And it's been my greatest pleasure. I had a blast. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was great seeing you again, and we'll hopefully we'll talk to you very, very soon.
Yay!